Alright people, these are my thoughts. This is my review on the Rings of Power trailer that just dropped for the Lord of the Rings show coming from Amazon, and let's just go ahead and jump right into it. This is played out exactly how I expected it to. The trailer was exactly what I was expecting. I expected to see something that lacked the heart of the Lord of the Rings trilogy that we got from Peter Jackson. I expected to see something that was very, very Hollywoodized, that felt way more like The Hobbit than Lord of the Rings, and we got that. We got something that feels very, very CGI bloated. That's exactly what we got. That's one of my biggest criticisms about the Hobbit trilogy, is that it relies way too much on CGI, unlike Lord of the Rings, which used a lot of practical effects, which I think is way better, which worked much better for the world of Middle-earth. And speaking of the world of Middle-earth, this did not feel like Middle-earth. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. It feels very, very lacking in heart. It just does. Like, when I watched the trailer, I wasn't just sitting there thinking, you know what? This feels like Middle-earth. This really does. And I think that Tolkien would be super proud of what this is. I did not feel that at all. And that is one of my biggest problems. And I already talked about this in another video that I did about this show. This is one of my biggest problems with this show, is that they directly said in a quote in regards to this show that they were making, we wanted to make the book that Tolkien never wrote. That is like, that to me just like tells me everything I need to know about what they were planning to do with the show. Compare that to Peter Jackson, who said when they were making Lord of the Rings, he said that they wanted to make something that kept their politics out of it. They wanted to make something that captured the spirit of Tolkien without their own interpretation, without their own personal politics getting into it. Guess what is getting into Rings of Power? Their own personal politics. And you can see it. You can see it throughout the entire thing. Everything. They're pushing all of this identity politics nonsense into this show when it doesn't belong. And people are like, oh, well, just look at Lord of the Rings. It's all about, all these different races coming together, and it's about diversity and all this stuff. Yes, those races are the diversity. You don't need to add black people into that. You don't need to add all these extra characters that aren't even part of the Silmarillion at all. You don't need to add those into it because there's already freaking diversity in the books. It's there with the dwarves, with the elves. That's diversity because it's literally different races. I don't even like to call people who simply have different skin colors races, because we're all part of the human race. That is true racial diversity in Lord of the Rings, because we're dealing with actual different races. But that diversity isn't good enough for Hollywood, because they have to push this extra narrative, this identity politics, intersectional nonsense into everything that they do. And that's exactly what they're doing with this Rings of Power show. So, going back to the trailer, it played out exactly what I expected. It looks very Hollywoodized. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. And I think that is a big mistake. Like, you have Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson set the bar. And this doesn't even come close to touching the bar. And it should. It really should, if they want to be competitive. And unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of people out there who are just normies, who don't know anything about the Silmarillion or the Second Age, or really anything beyond what they saw in the movies of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, who are looking at this and they're loving it. But mostly, the people that are loving it are the wokesters. It's the SJWs who are loving this the most, which is really weird. It's really weird that you're pandering to them for your audience. You're not pandering to actual fans. And we're seeing that happening right now, where we're seeing places like the OneRing.net blocking anybody who has even just the slightest criticism about this show. Okay? Like, we're talking about actual fans who want to gatekeep this and protect the actual legacy of Tolkien, who want to actually be faithful to Tolkien. People like me, people like Nerdrotic, people like Jeremy. We're actual fans who want to protect what this is all about, and we are getting blocked by all these fan sites who have decided to plunge balls deep into wokeness over this show. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you should be criticizing the show, because we should be holding something as amazing and powerful as Lord of the Rings to a higher standard. So with all that being said, I'm sure I'm going to have more thoughts about this trailer as I watch it and as I process it. I only watched it twice, so I will spend more time to watch it, and I'll give you guys some more deeper thoughts. We might do a live stream tomorrow or something to talk more about it. But let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. So make sure that you subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd appreciate that a lot. And I'll catch you all in another video very soon. Bye.